being an interabled couple from me, a disabled person, and my husband, who is able-bodied. Hey, I'm Sassy Wyatt. I'm totally blind. I'm a blind content creator and disability consultant. And today, my husband and I are going to chat to you about what it's like to be in an interabled relationship, any obstacles we've faced, and just the general questions we get asked. Grant, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hello.
So, the first question that people tend to ask Grant as a able-bodied person is, why would you date a disabled person?
Yeah, and I just tell people that it's not much different to a normal relationship. It's like Sassy's disability doesn't really, come into my frame of mind when I discuss her, because it's been like 7 years.
Yeah.
So like it was very much a part of my everyday life. And even when we were just friends before we started dating, it wasn't a big deal then either. I think a lot of people get hung up on the disability aspect and think that, oh no, I'll just end up, looking after them 24/7, getting them dressed. And it's like, no, because disabled people are very much independent and capable before relationships. And, when you come along, yeah, you might need to help out, but you'd help out because you want to help out as a partner, as someone, you care for, needs your help or a little bit of extra assistance. It's not that, I'm her carer 24/7 and like if she had carers beforehand, they have all just gone away and replaced with me.
So that kind of leads me on to the second question, which is, what would you say your caring role or responsibility is for me, if there are any?
Mostly for what I do for Help You is to make sure I don't move things and leave them in different places. So like we have things that, like for example, the TV remotes in set places so that Sassy can find them instead of me, despite all my best efforts of leaving them over my side of the sofa and then she doesn't know where they are. Trying not to leave too many obstacles in the way, to move Ida's toys out of the way so you don't trip up them or like kick them. Just little things like that. Things that you would have in a normal relationship of when two people sort of first move in and get together, that we have to accommodate and learn to live with each other's quirks and other issues that everyone has.
Absolutely. And I would say that for me, I've had to learn to be more patient and considerate and less uptight about having a bit of an untidy house. Because as someone that was sighted and a neat freak and then lost her vision and was an extra neat freak because I needed things to be in their place, just learning to let go if Grant hasn't put the remote back, or little things like moving something around and not telling me. It's not that he has to tell me, it's just because it makes it convenient for me if I know where it is and I'm not then chasing you around the
Yeah.
house or texting or calling someone to ask, can you help me find this object? So it's, again, I've had to learn in our relationship how to be more patient. So it's give and take as it is in any relationship. What would you say that the main things that you did for us when we first started dating that would helped me as a blind or visually impaired person?
So when we went to restaurants, I'd read the menu because like when you get a braille menu, it's like absolutely massive compared to a normal sized printed menu. So, and Sassy's not the best at reading braille, she's not very fast. So you'd be like 40 minutes in and she's read up to burgers on like the first page of the menu. And I'm like, do you want me to just read it to you? Because I'm a bit hungry now.
And that is totally me. I have arthritis in my hands. I'm not the fastest braille reader either. And yeah, it's a lot quicker if Grant just reads the menu. The other thing that I asked of you, again, I could do this independently, it would just take me a lot longer, is for you to sighted guide me to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And especially if it wasn't an accessible bathroom, you'd pop into the ladies and you'd say the sinks are on the left, the toilets are on the right, the hand dryer's right at the end. Those quick, simple things just give me a visual layout, a visual map in my mind of where things are. And it also just gave me the confidence to know that I could rely on you. To give everyone a little bit of context, we were best friends before we got together.
Yeah.
We knew each other from uni. We were in the same friendship group. So I guess for me, I did have an extra layer of trust for Grant. I knew I could ask these things of him. But don't be afraid that if you have a disability and you need slight accommodations, like asking someone to grab you your drink because you don't have the dexterity in your hands to pick it up and bring it across, then that's okay. They're not wiping your ass for you, and they know that too. So don't be afraid to ask if you need the accommodations. If you're watching this and you're able-bodied, don't think that you are there to be their knight in shining armor, because as Grant said at the beginning, disabled people are completely capable and independent. If we need support from assistants or carers, we'll have that anyway. You're only there to bolster our ego and tell us how pretty we are.
Yeah. I think also it's one of those things you need to take into account, that people with disabilities, regardless of their disability, are still able to do things by themselves. They might just take, like, if for in Sassy's instance, reading a menu takes a lot longer, and like for eating food as well, that was another one. It was I would tell Sassy if she was like where her food was at, like sort of a 12 o'clock face on the plate, so you know where things are to eat them. And then I always get to watch her chase peas around, like the last couple of peas on her plate, trying to stab them with a fork, but then like scoop it onto a fork and drop it off.
Another thing that you did on our dates, which I feel came really naturally to you anyway, was describing things. So maybe describing the layout of the restaurant and the aesthetics. But also when we were going for walks, you would just describe the scenery. You'd tell me if there was some steps coming up. Again, none of these things are obligated to you as an able-bodied person, especially, for example, if you're dating a blind person. But it was really, really helpful for me because I am a visual learner and I really enjoy getting that visual feedback. And when we started dating, I hadn't long been blind anyway, so I think I was still in that visual representation and liking the feedback. But what would you say? How do you think it was for you?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it came naturally to me just because we'd been friends before. So when you were visually impaired, you couldn't see that, the distance away, far away. So I would give you little bits of tidbits of like what's going on around. But then at the same time, I just think it's one of those things that we were dating and I cared for you. So my instinct was to provide you with the visual feedback that you couldn't get yourself. So it's like I was just thinking more of a caring point of view of, I wasn't like it wasn't like daunting on me that I needed to do it. I just wanted to do it so that you could enjoy what I was seeing as well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main things that people need to take away from, if your only hang up of dating someone is that they've got a disability, is that they don't need you to do any of this. Like Sassy was saying, like, it's not obligated for me to do this. It's not like when we sat down and said, oh, do you want to start dating? It was like, okay, but I need you to do X, Y, and Z. That's not the case. You just need to treat them like a normal person, like a normal human being, and it's a normal relationship. And you just act the way you would in a normal relationship, but in this case it's interabled. The only difference between me and Sassy is that Sassy has a disability, but it doesn't weigh on our relationship whatsoever. I'm not bogged down by, needing to describe this and that and being like, oh, well, I've got to watch this film with audio description on now. It's like, no, because I watch things with audio description without Sassy now, just because it provides that little extra tidbit of information, so things that you wouldn't quite pick up. So actually, she's helped me by broadening sort of my film horizons by watching things with audio description. So you don't have to pay 100% attention either. So like if you're doing one thing and then you're watching a film. So I think like every relationship, it's give and take, and you learn to live with each other's quirks. And I learned to live with Sassy's disability and expand my own sort of knowledge in that sense.
Being in a relationship with a disabled person doesn't automatically make you a carer. And I think that needs to be highlighted because it doesn't matter whether you're just dating, you are moving in, or like us, are married. We do things for each other because we care for each other. the added extras of Grant describing something or helping me find something I've dropped on the floor isn't a burden to him. But also, he doesn't have to do those things because technology is at my fingertips that I can get sighted assistance from someone else if I absolutely need it. But if you're having a low day, I will leave you to your own devices or ask what I can do to help you. If you're poorly, I'll ask what I can do to help you. It's a caring role on both respects, and at the end of the day, a relationship is all about caring for the person that you're with, regardless of them having a disability.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the main issue I believe is that when a disabled person goes on the media, for example, like on a talk show like this morning or something like that, is that they're always there for doing X, Y, or Z, but then they're always accompanied by their partner, who is also their carer. So everybody automatically has this assumption that if you are dating or married to a disabled person, then you're definitely going to be their carer, which is not the case. It's like most people will have carers come in separately because a lot of them, if they have a severe disability, it's a medical requirement that they need a carer and they need someone who's medically trained. You can't just, pick a random person off the street, marry them and go, right, you're my carer now, because that's just not how it works.
Yeah, and the disabled person has to be safe. I've got plenty of friends who have carers that come in and support them, and their partners have absolutely nothing to do with that. Because, again, that isn't why they got into a relationship. They had carers before they got into a relationship, and they will need carers regardless of what stage of relationship they are in. So don't ever fear that you'll become that person's carer. It's very rare that a disabled person who has extra needs and specific requirements will then ask you or rely on you to be that 24/7.
Yeah.
I think there's only like one couple even on the internet that I can think of that does that. Everyone else has either their own limitations that they deal with or they have carers come in and support them.
Yeah. And again, that's your personal choice as well.
Yeah.
If you want to take on more of a caring role, then that's up to you. But don't feel if you get into a relationship with someone that's disabled that you need to care for them all the time.
Yeah. To wrap up, if you want to date a disabled person, date them because they're cool, you think they're sexy, you think they're funny, you think they're clever, whatever. But don't date them because they're disabled, or don't not date them because they're disabled.
Yeah. I think you need to take into account that if your only downside of dating someone, you think they're a great person but they have a disability, you need to look at your own values. Date them because you like them. Their disability and a disabled person it shouldn't even cross your mind.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed the content and the tips we gave. Feel free to continue discussion in the comments below if you have got any more tips or tricks to add yourself, or you just want to ask us more questions as an Interabled couple. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll speak to you later. Bye!
Bye!